And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Market Recap, Tuesday, July the 12th. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while after the close today. Interesting trading day. A lot of speculation that it was going to be a range-bound day, and it would have been a range-bound day in the equities. I think if not in large part due to Mr. Barkin, a member of the FOMC. First off, 70% of Americans believe that a recession is coming. That's not good news. The U.S. stock stumbled at the end of the day today as recession and earnings season loom. Barkin says that his expectation for another elevated, he has expectations for another elevated CPI report due tomorrow. He also says that he's concerned that post-epidemic changes will make inflation control more difficult. He says the Fed has the tools and the credibility to get inflation under control. I'm not sure how much we believe that at this point. Crude prices dropped to a three-month low after the OPEC meeting ends. Now, OPEC has said, with regards to crude oil, that the oil supply will rise by 1.7 million barrels in 2023, led by the U.S. I don't know if that's enough to cause the break that happened today, but the market did what it did. As far as the ES and the NASDAQ are concerned, Barkin's comments, I think, have chilled buyers, at least for now. Stocks drop into the close with the E-mini S&P 0.9% lower, as well as the NASDAQ also 0.9% lower into the close. And the Dow, of course, doing a little better, down 0.6%, 0.6%. So the range-bound day that some of us were probably expecting came into a little bit of a change. It's going to be an interesting trading day tomorrow. Don't forget, we have a bit of a late spike in the equities. We have the CPI tomorrow at 7:30, so I'm going to make sure I get some good rest this morning. As far as gold is concerned, it continues to drag recent lows, even continuing down below those lows in after the 12:30 close. The euro downtick in the U.S. dollar brings price back to test the weekly kickoff low, finding some resistance there. The 10-year Treasury prices grind lower and higher value. Natural gas finds resistance near the weekly kickoff high and starts to kind of fall into a 4-day range. Now, we're 2 weeks from rollover in the natural gas. We are in rollover week for crude oil this week. So we have all of these things to remember as we continue through our trading week. I hope that you had a good trading day. If you joined me for the strategies, hopefully you found something useful for you to use moving forward. Of course, my goal and our goal here at Top Step is your inevitable success. As always, make sure you hit that lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome on the recap. Hit the subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get notified when we do go live. Good afternoon, Scott Saw, and I hope you conquered Tachyon. Tachyon down 158 for the day. Could have been down 160 if I walked away. Something there is nothing to do and give up on the day. Still learning when there are those days, and we never really know a Tachyon. I find that if I become emotional or I get mad or something happens, that I find that I put myself at greater risk of greater losses. So I learned to walk away those days. It's really hard to close, to kind of quiet those voices in your head that say, what if? Spencer did not care for this price action at all. No, sir. Should have done something other than trade this morning. Tomorrow's CPI numbers hopefully will give us a nice trend day. It would be nice, right? George, good afternoon. Lacey, where are you? You're around here somewhere. You were just moosing me to go outside, and we'll get outside shortly. There she is. She's laying down. But she does say hello, George. Tanya, I'm doing well. How are you? It's good to see you again. I'm hoping things are going very well for you. Tony, good afternoon. And Joe, good afternoon, Joe. So we're going to jump into the charts here and see what we saw this morning, see what happened this afternoon, and let's see what we can figure out together here. Let's take a look. So I'm going to start with crude. We had some, knowing it's in rollover. I don't even think that we've really broken the rollover range that we established like early in the week. I mean, we did close below these candle bodies here. That's one break of balance. The other break of balance would be for us to close below last week's low, kind of looking at the high here and the low here as our real rollover range. Volume, of course, an open interest is going to be blurry. We're waiting for the information from OPEC today, obviously. There was not good news for longs, good news for those that want cheaper oil. Of course, that's going to be a good thing. 95.10 is the low end of the range that we established that we're looking at as the rollover range. Last week's low, basically, 95.10. And we were looking up here at 105.24 as the other extreme of that range. So we've basically spanned that entire rollover type range. We've got API this afternoon. We've got EIA tomorrow. I mean, I find myself hoping that this thing really starts to head to the downside because it's going to be cheaper for everybody, and maybe we can get a hold on some, or at least a part of, this inflation that we've got going on. I'm hoping, I don't expect, and I cannot predict. So here's the 30-minute chart. I believe we opened and left the opening range at the high of the session. Let's give that a look. So here's our opening range. We indeed did leave it at the high of the regular trading hour session today, which can be a sign of seller control throughout the entire day. We opened with a gap. We had no effort to close the gap after leaving the opening range at the high of the session. It was a 50-tick opening range. That's very inhibitive of trying to take that opening range trade, although today it certainly would have paid off. So we checked this naked point of control here back almost to last week's low, which is really the area of range that we're talking about the market remaining in during rollover. So we're going to have a test down to this level. If not today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how the market can hold up there. Equities, okay, largely range bound. We've been talking for a couple of weeks now that this market is really just kind of consolidating in this area. Here's the day today. We opened. This is the overnight session. I'm going to just go ahead and take this off because I like to have a good visual difference between regular trading hour sessions. So we left the opening range at the high of the session. I had high hopes of the market reaching the high of yesterday's regular trading hour session. It wasn't a very strong high. We were unable to do so. So there's one thing that didn't happen that ended up being important for us to remember throughout the session today. We had we put in a low. So we spent the vast majority of the day inside the initial balance, which is a normal trading day. We almost had a normal trading day yesterday in the S&Ps, and in the NASDAQ we did. However, we did not have that come to fruition As Barkin started talking, I think folks got a little bit more nervous about the CPI tomorrow. We ended up pushing this market lower. Now, is this a true late spike? The K period, the L period really broke the range to the downside, and then M period continued but came back. Really do some studying tonight and see if I really believe that this late spike means that much, because we did not close near the low of M period. We've had the opportunity and the time for the market to find an area of balance, even in a short period of time at the end of the day here, in the fact that we closed back inside the L period here according to profile. The last thing we wanted to do was to, I think, fight any kind of breakout of balance throughout the day today, and I'm hoping that nobody thought they were going to be able to kind of pick this bottom, because it's a pretty decent move to the downside. Look at the amount of volume we put in right near the end of the day here in this area of balance. So this kind of makes me believe that we're going to be a little cautious calling this a late spike tomorrow morning. Watch the forecast. I'll have some hopefully better information and thoughts on whether this is a late spike to the downside. NASDAQ, similar situation, different product. Okay, again, the market opens, can't trade to the high of yesterday. I think this ended up being one of the more important nuances that we had today. It was actually a nuance that didn't happen. We have to remember, sometimes what doesn't happen is equally as important as what does in these markets. So we range the rest of the day. We break into the close. We have a question as to whether this is a true late spike into the end of the day today. Again, I'll be doing some research and thinking about this, and hopefully have a little bit better idea of what I think about this tomorrow. And what I think doesn't matter to the market, but I'm gonna see if we can't put this close into some sort of context for tomorrow morning's forecast. The gold, where are our buyers? Where are our buyers? The dollar came off today, but gold did not. Here's the 30-minute chart. We left the opening range at the high of the session, in the middle of value, something that I don't usually expect to happen. We didn't really have any overnight inventory. Sometimes that means that something like this can happen. But we ended up pushing lower. Last week's low still in play now. But we did end up closing down below last week's low. So we're going to see if we can find some comfort down here. And if we continue to accept down here, I think there's more to the downside. We've got 1,700 weekly kickoff low, big fat round number that I'm looking for an opportunity to see what the market does down there. And here's the euro. My brother Rick was talking about, hey, the dollar's too strong, buy the euro this morning. And to a degree, he was correct. The overnight high was weekly kickoff low. What was support becomes resistance. Here's the 30. So the market opened. I didn't think it was all that tremendous a move today. It wasn't what I would be expecting in a kind of a market state continuation or change near the weekly kickoff level, but the market did trade back to it. So we were right in the dollar being too strong, but by the end of the day, things turned around and we headed back to the downside. The 10-year, we put in higher value, but the day session was to the downside. Open, high, and then we closed on the lows. Be watching to see what open interest does tomorrow. Just to kind of a reminder, in estimated, we added 10,000 in open interest on a move to the upside yesterday. Do we have some of that coming off today? What are rates going to be doing? We're now officially 2 weeks from tomorrow is the next FOMC meeting, and Barkin was talking about another 75 basis point hike in rates. Let's see how these rumors or discussions affect price. Obviously, it had a little bit of an effect on it today. And the nat gas got pretty close to some resistance and then really kind of peeled off. It was almost like watching the crude oil, just not the same magnitude. Here's the 30. Overnight, we had some overnight longs that were getting out while we were talking about it in the forecast today. Coming off, overnight longs already coming off. The market opens, and kind of follows suit with crude oil. I think I'm not sure if the opening range was the high of the session, but sellers took control relatively quickly and then just put a dead cat bounce, a B-shaped profile. Long liquidation. We had added 3,800 estimated in open interest yesterday. Did we get too long up here and we liquidated? Our weekly kickoff high is right up here. That is $6.83. You have to see. Let's see. The equities today, while it was a real yawner for the better part of the day, ended up being almost an exhausting move to the downside. Whenever the market has a tendency, well, whenever the market goes lower, I have a tendency to be really tired at the end of the day. I don't know what it is. It's something in my makeup. It's something in my emotional capital that just gets used up when the market's lower, even if I don't participate. I mean, I had a fine day, but even if I don't participate, it always makes me worry a little bit when the market tanks a little bit. It's been 3, 4, 5, 6 months since I checked my 401k, and I was hoping to be able to do that relatively soon, but I know at some point we're going to recover and things are going to be all right. So what happened on this day? I remember this. Many of you are probably too young, but in 1984, today is the day that Geraldine Ferraro was named the vice presidential candidate. They did not, however, win, but there was the first woman to be nominated to be vice president. This day in 1862, the Medal of Honor was created. 1979, I know some of you are going to remember this. Disco is dealt a blow by fans of the Chicago White Sox. Disco Demolition was in Comiskey Park in Chicago, run by a Chicago DJ, Steve Dahl, and a bunch of disco albums, and they piled them up in the middle of the field and blew them up. It ended up being quite the fiasco. And in music, Christine McVie's birthday is today. She was born in 1943. We all know and love her from her work in Fleetwood Mac. A couple other things. Mickey Dolenz got married today in 1968. 1979. You guys remember Minnie Riperton's "Loving You"? It was a album or a record that was produced by Stevie Wonder, but Minnie Riperton didn't live very long. Unfortunately, she died of cancer on this day in 1979. Well, I didn't know this. 1980, Olivia Newton-John and the Electric Light Orchestra had the #1 UK number, Xanadu. I didn't know that ELO was part of that. It's 1986. I remember this song. It was a really good year. Simply Red scored his first U.S. single with "Holding Back the Years." I remember that song. It's a good song. It's about all I see here. That's about it. Good evening, Anissa, Federico. Giacomo got too long today and just needed liquidation. Seems that way. Isaac was saying something. I don't know what he said. Glitter, you inspired me to test some opening range trays played, and it's been nice. Good. Just remember, they are cyclical. The more people that notice them, the more people that trade them, the less likely they are to be profitable. When everybody gives up on them, then all of a sudden they start to become profitable again. It's a mystery how that works. All right, so tomorrow we have the CPI coming out 7:30, and then EIA Petroleum Status Report 9:30 Central, Beige Book 1 p.m. Central. Beige Book is the marker. We've got 2 weeks to the FOMC meeting when they're going to raise rates yet again. We need it. So, all right, that's going to be it. I'm going to get some rest this evening and be ready and rested for tomorrow morning's forecast and tomorrow's trading day. So be good to yourself, be good to others, say a prayer for world peace, and I'll see you in the morning. Bless you all. Have a good day. Julian, every day for the most part, mostly the E-mini S&Ps, but I do trade the gold sometimes. I haven't traded gold in a while, though. I haven't seen any really good opportunities, except for when I was off last week, and occasionally crude oil, but I did not trade crude oil today. Mostly the S&Ps. JNR, I hope tomorrow will be nice, too. Good night, everybody. Bless you.